Me? After session, here for that. Lên à? Làm sao giao nguyên thiên?
So dear friends, welcome to the first day of the How to Reconcile retreat in Lower Hamlet. We're very happy to have you here for the next 3 days. Before we begin the Dharma talk, we will introduce some Plum Village practice songs for you to enjoy. The first one is I Have Arrived. It is a Plum Village classic, and anywhere you go where the Plum Village tradition is, you will hear this song. It will help you arrive and come home to yourself. So this is the first song. And the second song is called Freedom of the Heart. This is a walking meditation song, which we will do after the Dharma talk. And it helps you come back to your steps and helps you be in touch with Mother Earth. So please enjoy these two songs.
am the sunshine, I am the earth, receiving the sea, and I am free when my heart is open. Yes, I am free when my mind is clear. Oh dear brothers, oh dear sisters, let's walk together mindfully. And I am free when my heart is open. Yes, I am free when my mind is clear. Oh dear brothers, oh dear sisters, let's walk together joyfully. I am a cloud, I am the blue sky, I am the bird spinning out its wings. I am the flower, I am the sunshine, I am the earth, receiving the sea. And I am free when my heart is open. Yes, I am free when my mind is clear. Oh dear brothers, oh dear sisters, let's walk together joyfully. And I am free when my heart is open. Yes, I am free when my mind is clear. Oh dear brothers, oh dear sisters, let's walk together joyfully.
Let's offer some flowers to our Lower Hamlet sisters. In Plum Village, we offer flowers like this as a show of appreciation. So you can do that anytime during the next 3 days and we will understand you. The next song is called I Cry Your Tears. This is the song about interbeing, which we will learn about in this retreat. It's the fact that our happiness and our suffering are not individual matters. So the suffering of ours and others, we affect each other. So this song is about that. And then we will offer you another walking gatha that you can use to do during walking meditation in the next 3 days. And this song is another Plum Village classic, Happiness. So please enjoy.
I cry your tears, do you feel my pain? I cry your tears, do you feel my pain? Understanding fills my heart, understanding fills my heart, and peace, whispers a new song, and peace, whispers a new song. cry your tears, do you feel my pain? Understanding fills my heart, understanding fills my heart, and peace whispers a new song, and peace whispers a new song. I smile your smile, do you feel my joy? I smile your smile, do you feel my joy? Understanding fills my heart, understanding fills my heart, and love whispers a new song, and love whispers a new song. The mind can go in 1,000 directions, but on this lovely path I walk in peace. With each step a gentle breeze blows, with each step a flower blooms. The mind can go in 1,000 directions, but on this lovely path I walk in peace. With each step a gentle breeze blows, with each step a flower blooms. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries, nowhere to go, nothing to do, no longer in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries, somewhere to go, something to do, but I don't need to hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries, nowhere to go,
very much again. So we have come to the end of our singing. The Sister Nghiem will come up and she will introduce Sister Hien, our Dharma teacher for today.
So, dear Tay, dear community, and dear friends at home, we're very happy that you are able to join us for this online retreat, How to Reconcile, hosted by the Lower Hamlet Sisters here in Plum Village. We're very happy that almost 600 participants will be joining us for this retreat. And we know that the year 2021 has really brought to light the importance of reconciliation. And so during this retreat, the Lower Hamlet Sisters will try our best to transmit to you our insights and our experiences around the theme of reconciliation. We'll also try our best to transmit to you the place, the people, and the practice here in Lower Hamlet. We hope that you have been able to enjoy the welcoming video and witness some of the scenes, some of the things that are going on for us here in Lower Hamlet, and get in touch with Plum Village, Lower Hamlet a little bit. For the first Dharma talk of this retreat, we have Sister Hien, Sister True Dedication. She will offer the retreat for you. Initially, she will offer the Dharma talk for you. Initially, she was scheduled to be back here with us in Lower Hamlet and to offer the talk from Lower Hamlet, but because of lockdown and border closures, things like that, she's still with her family in the UK. And so this morning she will be coming to you live from the UK, sharing her experiences with the practice of reconciliation. Being at home in the UK, she most likely will have been in touch with a lot of the real suffering, difficulties that are going out there, going on for everyone. And so we're very happy that she's able to offer the retreat right from her home in the UK, and so that we can all get in touch with so all the practices that we offer, we can see that they're very concrete, very practical, and very applicable wherever we are. So without further ado, we bring to you Sister True Dedication in the UK.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, dear beloved Lower Hamlet sisters. I would like to check, are you able to hear me, and is the line?
So we are able to see you now, but and we were able to hear you a moment ago, but could you say something so we could confirm?
Good morning, dear beloved sisters of Lower Hamlet, and everyone who is joining us online. Can you hear me well? Wonderful. Raised hands. Wonderful.
Okay. So, dear Sister Nghiem, it's so nice to have you join us this morning, and we really feel that you're here with us, and we're there with you as well. So, before we begin this morning's Dharma talk, let us enjoy 3 sounds of the bell. We would like to invite everyone at home to find a comfortable posture. Sit with your back upright but relaxed, allowing the air to flow in and out of your body in a free and comfortable way, and just to be able to come back and to feel the breath, feel the pleasant, feel the pleasure of breathing in and out. And just for a few moments, we can allow our bodies to come to rest, allow our minds to come to rest, so that we can be ready to receive the teachings this morning. So please enjoy 3 sounds of the bell.
Thank you so much, dear sisters, for that beautiful sound of the bell. Isn't it wonderful to imagine it resonating across all the countries where we find ourselves as we're enjoying being together this morning or this afternoon for those who will be watching this video a little bit later today. I think we have quite a few participants from America, and I'm not sure how many of them will have woken up yet. So they will be joining us perhaps a little bit later. I was very struck by the title of this retreat, and in particular this word reconcile, that has drawn us together for this weekend. It's a very beautiful word. It's an old word, and it means to bring together again, to reunite, to make friendly once more. It's an old French and Latin word, to kind of conciliate again. I like the fact that the roots of the word have something to do with friendliness. We would like to be more friendly with ourselves and with those around us and with the world. We would like to restore that friendship and harmony that we know to be there. And as Sister Nghiem mentioned, this is so needed in our times. We may feel even a little self-indulgent for offering ourselves the gift of these 3 days to look deeply into this theme. But I think now more than ever, the art of reconciliation is something that the world is thirsty for. The world is parched and in need of friendship, goodwill, and the restoration of harmony. The last year and a half have been very fractious, divided, and somewhat fraught in many different countries. And so to be able to learn over the next few days how we can bring peace, to make peace, to generate peace for ourselves that we can offer to others, and especially to generate peace and to make friendliness in those situations where it just seems so tricky to do so. So we hope that in the course of our practices together, our meditation together, and our deep looking, we will be able to cultivate that courage to make peace even in tricky situations. And we know that if we can do that in our own lives, that is our offering to the world. That is our investment in bringing that kind of peace and reconciliation to our society, to our country, to our planet. So in the Plum Village tradition, we always say we practice engaged Buddhism or applied Buddhism. And that also means that whatever we do for ourselves is also for the world. It's not just well-being in its most diluted sense, but we are actively participating and generating the kind of energies that the world needs most. It's our kind of contribution to our few days with how we can come back to ourselves, reconcile with ourselves. Perhaps that may be a very hard challenge already, to be able to learn how we can reconcile with the present moment, to accept and make peace with the present moment as it manifests for us, even in a pandemic, even with political uncertainty, even with planetary uncertainty. How can we reconcile ourselves with this moment? So with ourselves, our body, our feelings, with the moment we find ourselves in, and with the people around us. So this will be the adventure we will explore together in the coming days. For me, I find this a very powerful way to understand my mindfulness practice. It gives me a lot of motivation to know that what I can do for myself, for my family, in my own relationships is already what and it gives me that extra motivation, aspiration, and sometimes we say bodhicitta, extra boost of energy to cross the distance that are hard to cross, because I know I'm not doing it only for myself. I'm doing it for those I love, and I'm doing it for the world. And so this perspective, please bear it in mind as we continue through these practices. I'm aware that for quite a number of us, this is our first time on Plum Village retreat, either online or in person. And so it's your first contact with those of us with shaved heads and hopefully smiles and robes and so on. And I want to offer a warm welcome to you all. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for daring to join us for this experience. And you will find that a lot of the teachings that we're sharing, the meditations and practices, are rooted in the Buddhist tradition and informed by the insights of the Buddhist tradition. But you don't need to be a Buddhist in order to have a real scientific spirit and an open mind as we present different things that you could try out and take the time to reflect on it, put it into practice and see if it works for yourself. See if this bears fruit. And so you don't have to believe in anything. We invest ourselves in experimenting and trying with the practice. And we hope, and it's the experience of many of us who have been in this tradition for some time, that these practices do bear fruits. They do bear fruits. Many of us may also have come to this retreat, this experience, with a particular relationship in mind. We may have seen that word reconcile or reconciliation, and we may have thought, I would like to make some progress in this area. And so we may have something already in our heart for some area where we would like to bring some more love and some more light and some more understanding, perhaps. There may be relationships in which we still feel there is some residual hurt or resentment even, or anger. And we may wish to bring some healing to ourselves and to the other person. And so as we practice, as we breathe together, as we meditate together, as we look deeply together, we can allow those feelings to be there. We invite them into the room to participate in this retreat with us. And it may be that there's someone we have lost or who we are losing at this time, someone who is leaving our life. And we may wish to be at peace with our relationship, even across that distance. And we know, and I speak also from my own experience, even when someone may no longer be in our lives, that relationship still has its mark in us. The imprint of that person is still very present in us, in our very being, in our soul. And healing may still be needed, even if that person is not going to themselves be an active participant in this work of healing. We, for our part, can still do so much healing. We can still touch so much insight about that relationship. So this is good news. It is never too late. And the very fact that we've chosen to have these 3 days together, you've chosen to be on this retreat, is because there is that deep wish already there to be at peace, to restore, to heal. Tai has said that there's a seed of reconciliation in each one of us. And already by being here, that seed has been watered, that seed has been given an opportunity to grow, and the healing and the transformation has already begun. Already our intention, to look at it anew, to make peace, to be more at peace with it. The miracle of reconciliation has already begun to reveal itself. And my own experience is that sometimes reconciliation can be more quick and sometimes it can take longer. And so in different aspects of our life and in different relationships, there will be those that are easier. The insight can come quickly. The steps that we need to take can reveal themselves more immediately. And in other cases, it may take more time. And that is also okay. In our tradition, we say that all seeds ripen in their own time, in the right time. So we can also practice patience. And then when there are instant miracles, we also enjoy those too. So be ready for both in the next few days. So reconciliation is something possible. It is possible to make peace with ourselves, and it is possible to make peace with others, even in the most difficult situations. And what makes it possible, for our part, is the energy of mindfulness, of concentration and looking deeply, and the energy of insight. So these three energies of mindfulness, concentration, and insight is what we will be cultivating together as we look deeply into how the situation came to be and what we would like to do to change it. We get an insight into ourselves, into why we're hurting, why it is something or a situation or a relationship is so painful or difficult. We get an insight into the other people, how they came to be as they are. And then we get an insight into the interaction between these two beings, ourselves and the other person, and why there may be friction or fireworks or unhealthy dynamics. And it's that energy of mindfulness, concentration, and insight which will show us what to do, how we can be, what we can say, and what actions we can take to help this, to bring friendship again. There's a little story that I love very much, which has always struck me. And it's a story, I think it's I believe it's is the sound okay? There was a little blip there. Would you be able to wave your cue? Thank you so much. So there's a little story that I love very much. It comes from the East, and it's a story about someone in a boat. And perhaps it's a fisherman, I don't know, or a fisherwoman in a simple boat, maybe out on the ocean or a very large lake. And it's very misty and very peaceful, and perhaps trying to cast the net and get some fish. And suddenly that boat hears a massive crash and a bang. And it turns out, it looks like there's the bow of another boat has crashed into the small boat. And so the fisherman on the first boat is very angry and immediately starts shouting and yelling at the other boat. And then slowly the mist clears a little bit, and it is quickly revealed that the other boat is empty. So who can he shout at? Who can he shout at? And as soon as he realizes the other boat is empty, of course, the shouting stops. And it's replaced with a kind of curiosity. How did that boat come to hit my boat? What is it doing here? Where is it going? And then maybe the fisherman starts to think a little bit about the wind, the currents, the tides. So it's a very different perspective on the boat that caused the harm. And the reason I like the story is because it resonates a lot with difficult relationships that I have had. That actually the other boat, it was kind of an accidental crash between two boats. And I'm definitely there on my boat and should be able to steer it correctly. And I often discover that the other person, in fact, is on their boat. The boat is not exactly empty. There is a captain, but they just don't know how to captain their ship. And so it ends up, maybe I also don't know how to captain. So two people don't know how to captain, and then the boats kind of crash into each other. And what I've even discovered is that even when I do know how to captain my ship, I still don't necessarily captain it very well. And maybe the other person, they don't want to crash into our boat, but they can't help themselves. They're either driven by circumstance or by habits, and they can't help themselves. And it's because their boat is like their boat and our boat is like our boat. And so the conflict arises. And this has really helped me a lot to understand, understand difficult relationships, that the other person in many ways is also a victim of their boat. They may not know how to handle their reactions. They may not know how to handle their strong emotions. They may kind of be on autopilot and not able to change course. They may be also lonely and lost and in need of our help. In need of our help. Sometimes the ones who hurt us the most or have the capacity to hurt us the most are also the ones who need our help. Whether they know it or not. Whether they know it or not. So let us take a moment to enjoy a sound of the bell. It's so delicious that we can have a beautiful big bell from the lower hamlet. And perhaps the camera can take us close to it so we can enjoy the bell in lower hamlet, and we can breathe. Come back to our body. Come back to our breathing. Thank you, dear Sister Nghiem. Thank you. So our first practice is to reconcile with ourselves. With our own body and feelings. Can everyone see me again? Yeah, okay. Tai has said that the greatest conflict may in fact be the conflict within. Tai has known war, he has known great hardship, and he has also said that perhaps that first battlefield is the battlefield within. And even if we came to this retreat hoping to solve an external relationship, we may want to take a moment to look at really the nature of our relationship with ourselves. Said it's a little bit scary to give myself this time to come on this retreat. And I laughed when I saw that, and I also resonated with it, that we are not used to taking time to come back to listen to ourselves and to look kindly towards ourselves and really ask, how am I being towards myself? Maybe we have some inkling that we may have been a little tough with ourselves and with our bodies. And Tai has said that the act of coming back to our breathing and coming back to our body is an act of reconciliation. So simply this returning, this awakening of mindfulness, I'm breathing, I'm here, my breath is here, and my body is here, is an act of reconciliation. It's a coming together, making friendly again with our body. So then we become a fully embodied mind. We are here. We spend a lot of the day avoiding being with ourselves and avoiding coming back to the body. And the body has a lot to tell us. If our breath is a little bit jagged, it might be because there's some tension in our shoulders or in our upper body, across our chest. It may be that we are holding a huge amount of tension around our breathing, but by coming back to our breathing, we have an opportunity to soothe and be more gentle in our way of simply breathing. As many of you know, in Plum Village, we practice what's called the 16 exercises of mindful breathing. And this is the foundation of all our practices, whether we are walking, sitting, standing, is always to recognize when we're breathing in and when we're breathing out. And we are often saying these words silently to ourselves, in and out. So we come together with the breathing and we join the breathing where it is. We don't want to change our breathing in any way. When I first started practicing mindfulness, I realized that was my first mistake. I wanted to breathe well. I thought that I should breathe properly, and that there was a right and a wrong way to breathe. And it was a bit like a mouse. I didn't seem to approach my breathing quietly, so it could just be as it is. I seem to always impose a certain will on my breathing. So there's an art to breathing and allowing our breath to be as it is. So as you're listening now, you can find, where is your in-breath and where is your out-breath? Where does the in-breath start and where does it transform into the out-breath? So we've identified our breathing and we're joining it gently. And then we ride the wave of our breathing. We follow our breathing. Following it all the way through. So here is the first challenge already. Can we do this with gentleness, with kindness, with softness? Can we be at peace with our breathing? Can we make peace with our breathing? And then we can extend gently our awareness to the whole upper part of our body, everything around our breathing, the whole mechanism that's supporting our breathing to be there. And we take a moment to really be at peace with our body that is making breathing possible. And Thai would often joke that as soon as we come back to our body, right away, we feel the tension that is there. In my own experience, it's quite rare that I come back to my body and find it completely at peace. The first thing we may notice is the tension. And we may be able to locate that tension. Is it in the shoulders, the chest, or the tummy? Is it in our back? Is it even in our hands or on our face? And as we find the tension, can we meet it with softness, with warmth, with gentleness, and not with blame? No, but immediately with goodwill. I am here for you, my shoulder. I'm here for you, my back, my lungs, my neck. And of course, in such a moment as this, with the collective energy of almost 400 of us live together, it may be easier to breathe more peacefully. And this is a kind of training. So we need to train ourselves to be able to do this not only today in our regular life, so that we have something to come to in difficult moments. We sometimes speak of our practice of mindfulness as a kind of muscle. We sometimes call it a Dharma body, a practice body, a kind of energy zone that we build up, and it needs regular investment so that it will be there when we need it most. So that when someone says something that triggers us, when someone does something that hurts us, to be with ourselves and to breathe, even if we only have 3 seconds to do so, to come back, to breathe, and at first make peace with ourselves and how the experience of that relationship has affected our body and mind right in this moment. And we have agency with our way of breathing. There is something we can do to already recognize how it has affected us. We may feel the tension in our body. And with our breathing, we can already address the immediate impact of that relationship in its effect on our body. We have this capacity to be able to release that tension intentionally, actively, we can do that for ourselves right in the very moment. And as I shall share in a moment, when we can breathe with ourselves and when we can soften the tension or the strain as we experience it in our body, we can then help others to do it, even if they themselves are not practitioners or don't want to be mindful. Help them. But it's our physical presence in each moment, in the moment where we find ourselves, that is the foundation from where we can reconcile. That is the foundation from where we can offer to the relationship and to ourselves. That's where we offer acceptance, stability, space, and a fresh perspective. We sometimes speak about the art of mindful living. And I prefer this phrase to the practice of mindfulness because it can be easy to think that I will, or I've even heard people say it like this, yeah, I'm going to do some mindfulness later today. Do some mindfulness. And we can have the idea that we need to set aside separate time in our day, either to go on to an app that's able to measure our practice of mindfulness, or that it means we need to sit in the sitting position and generate some energy of mindfulness there. And I love the fact that Thai has shown us how mindfulness is an art and an energy that we can bring to our whole day. We don't need necessarily to set aside extra time. If you have 10 and breathe, that is wonderful. If you have half an hour to go for a walk, that is wonderful. But if you don't, it doesn't mean that you cannot actively generate the energy of mindfulness doing whatever you are doing. As Sister Nghiem mentioned, I've had a chance to be with my family to offer them some support over the last few months. And I realized that many of my habit energies are very close to those of my mother. And one time when I was in Plum Village cleaning the stove, it was quite oily and greasy. And I guess there was a certain vigor with which I was cleaning the stove. I was always brought up to, use elbow grease, as we say in the UK. It means to, scrub. An elder nun turned to me and said, "Who is cleaning the stove? I think I can see your mother cleaning the stove," because I was immersed in this activity and literally doing it as I was taught to do it. And then the elder nun said, you can clean the stove more gently. And it's funny because, of course, I was brought up, a stove needs to be cleaned thoroughly and quickly. But that may take some force. And in Plum Village, we learn to be aware and to pay attention, maybe elements of aggression that we're not even really aware of, that we don't even recognize as aggression or force, but somehow it's not a peaceful activity anymore. The same goes for brushing our teeth. Like, you know, we may brush our teeth with much more force and speed than actually our teeth really need, or our gums probably want. We may sweep the floor or hoover to kind of get it done, and there may be some sense of a very subtle battle between us and the task at hand. And so for me, this is the landscape of reconciliation. Can I be at peace with the mountain of washing up? The dishes that need to be cleaned, the pan that needs to be scrubbed. Can this be a moment of peace? Can I accept? Of course, the pan is dirty because we cooked a delicious meal. So how can we transform this moment into not a struggle between us and the task, but really a moment of embracing life in all its messy glory? Of course, the room needs to be cleaned. And these moments are exactly the moments in our life when probably often people don't want to disturb us because they want us to complete this thing. So we won't be disturbed. And we can transform it into a moment of generating the energy of mindfulness, and specifically the energy of mindfulness towards our body as we do these things. Being gentle with our hands as we're doing the washing up, being aware of our posture as we're cleaning the bathroom, being aware of our posture as we're sweeping the floor or as we're hoovering, and imbuing and filling our body with peace, with kindness, as we do all of these things. And I think part of the reason why it's so powerful to do these daily tasks with the energy of mindfulness is because they are some of the moments in our, I think often, we're more easily able to savor a sunset or a beautiful flower, and perhaps less easily able to savor a sink full of dirty dishes or laundry that needs to be folded. But all of these moments are moments to reconcile with ourselves, and then with whoever else is being present in our actions and in our bodily habits, whether it's our mother or grandmother or whoever else is somehow very present with us when we do these different tasks. And you'll have seen on the online retreat platform a little video, and if you haven't watched it, we invite you to watch it today. It's a little practice about waking up in the morning and reciting a little poem at the moment of waking up. And so I invite you just to take a moment to reflect on how your morning was. And if I asked you, what was the first thing you did this morning? I wonder what you might say, or what might be the answer for you. It might be, oh, I got up and went to the bathroom. I went downstairs, I had breakfast, I did some stretching. And what's we would like to invite you to do is to zero in even a bit closer. So not just I got up and went to the bathroom, but okay, before you went to the bathroom. And then this moment, actually, when you are still in bed, how was that moment for you? That moment of the transition from sleep to wakefulness. Was this a moment when you could be, oh no, I will frame this differently. I have learned that it is possible for this to be a moment when we can be at peace with ourselves as we wake up. And I notice that when I don't pay attention to this moment of waking, it can become a moment when I am at war with myself and with my day. That may sound extreme, but this is really how I understand and have experienced my relationship sometimes with waking up. They sometimes say that human beings, we have two different types of daily rhythm according to our biological balance. So there are those of us who are more chickens and those of us who are more owls. And I'm in the owl camp. So the chickens may not relate to, to this, those of you who wake up very easily. So when we enter the monastery, we train ourselves to memorize this very short verse, which we've offered on the retreat platform for you. So we memorize this verse, and the idea is that the first thing that happens when we wake up is we recite this verse silently. And it goes like this: waking up this morning, I smile. 24 brand new hours are before me. I vow to live each moment fully and to look at all beings with the eyes of compassion. Waking up this morning. This is very interesting. It is a training and a practice. Are we able to smile? There may be many reasons to not smile. And the practice, the training here is to find the reason to smile. So what is the reason why I can smile? And Thai would often say, I am already a reason to be happy. And if that's not enough, we have to find another reason to smile. We may be able to enjoy a nice cup of tea or coffee. That may be reason enough to smile. And on different days, we may need to find different reasons. Maybe something will work for a few weeks and then suddenly it's not enough just to feel generally happy to be alive. So this is a practice to be able to smile. And the next line is, I vow to live fully in each moment. So there's a resolution, an energy of determination. There's an intention that we want to set at the beginning of the day to live each moment fully. You know, it's not I vow to live, I vow to run 5 miles and do 45 minutes of yoga and then I can be happy. It is, I vow to live fully each moment, however it presents itself. I want to be there for it. I want to be present for whatever is going to happen today. And the final line is, and so I vow to live fully in each moment and to look at all beings with the eyes of compassion. Oh, that's very nice. We would like to look at everyone with the eyes of compassion. As an intention, it's not bad. When I first started practicing this poem, I began to introduce the poem earlier and earlier to my morning. So at some point, it was the first thing that came to me as I came into wakefulness and even before I opened my eyes. And I discovered, oh, this is a great place to have this poem. I haven't even opened my eyes yet. And the poem is coming from my memory, my consciousness, my intention. I know I want to recite it as early as possible in the morning. And so it started coming to me even before I opened my eyes. And then one day, as I was reciting it, and I got to the line, may I look at all beings with the eyes of compassion, I realized that I was screwing up my own eyes with resistance to the day starting. And I realized that it's almost, this was the place where there wasn't the compassion. Like me to my eyes, there was not softness, gentleness, and compassion there. And I got the insight, small insight, but I got the insight that I want to be able to offer my eyes, my eyes compassion as I open them for the first time in the morning. And maybe, I mean, I'm someone who wakes up and I rub my eyes, you know, this is a practice, it's a training. How can we be gentle to ourselves from the inside? And literally with our first gestures toward, how can we make peace with the life that we have and the moments that present themselves? And so as you practice this, we invite you to practice it tomorrow morning and for the next morning of the retreat, and hopefully for a few days longer if you can, and to really explore what resistance you may find to practicing this gatha, for it really to be meaningful for you. And don't worry if there's resistance, because behind the resistance, you'll get an insight about why it may be hard to smile. So you can ask yourself, if you don't want to smile, why don't I want to smile? And then once you've made your list of the 21 reason or 1.5 reasons why it might be worth smiling. And this is the nature of our practice. We learn from the obstacles and we can get insights from them. There's a little practice that we may like to do together now, together with the sound of the bell. So maybe we will have one sound of the bell from the lower hamlet, and then I will offer some brief lines of guidance. So I hope we can have both sounds open, and take a moment again to check with our posture. We've been sitting here for about 45 minutes, so you may like to stretch a little bit, see how your shoulders are doing. If you want to raise your arms, roll open your shoulders, adjust your position if you would like to. And we'll do a very short breathing exercise together. So be sure that you can be comfortable and that there's space for your lungs to open up. Your spine nice and straight, ideally not leaning against anything if possible. If you like, you can place one hand on your belly very gently so that we can follow our in-breath as we hear the sound of the bell, and our out-breath, and welcome it however it is. Breathing in, I really see myself as a flower. I touch the freshness in me, the qualities in me. I see the ways in which I am a flower in the garden of humanity. The moments I can smile, the moments I can offer joy. And right now, on the in-breath, I touch that freshness. And on the out-breath, I smile. Breathing in, I feel fresh as a flower. Breathing out, I smile. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. I access and get in touch with that solidity that is there in me, in my body, in the floor, in the ground. Perhaps that stability is in my breathing itself. Breathing in, I am solid as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel that stability. Mountain, breathing in, I see myself as still water. I touch that stillness that is there in me, as still as a refreshing mountain lake. I invite that stillness to manifest itself in me in this moment. Breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect things as they are. Still water, reflecting. Breathing in, I see myself as space. I touch the element of space in me, in every cell of my body, in every atom. There's a lot of space. Touching space that is there in me. Breathing out, feeling free. Touching space, feeling free. Thank you, everybody, for this lovely moment together. As you may know, this is called the pebble meditation in the Plum Village tradition, and there are different reasons why it's called the pebble meditation or the flower fresh meditation, and many of us may be very familiar with it. It is a secret superpower, this meditation, and it's very essential for the practice of reconciliation. This meditation on these 4 simple elements, flower, mountain, water, and space, helps us adjust and improve the quality of our presence. And the quality of our presence is essential for ourselves and our own nourishment and being able to be at peace with ourselves. And it's the quality of our presence that we offer others. And we just took a few minutes there just to move through these 4 stages. And it's okay if you found some resistance to them. That is the challenge. And it's exactly in the points of friction where we can see that we can dig deeper in our mindfulness practice. Why don't I want to see myself as a flower? Why am I denying myself to be fresh? Some time to look into that. If we notice that we weren't feeling solid, how could we cultivate more solidity in our body? Our solidity is based, first of all, in our body, not in our external situation. So we don't ask for more security and less insecurity in the world, but we say, how can I be more solid in my body? And it's our awareness of our breathing in our daily life that can give us that kind of solidity, especially in our interactions with other people, and when those interactions are difficult or when something happens that unsettles us and destabilizes us, to be able to come back to know that we have a root in our breathing, that we can ground ourselves, if only for a few minutes, is very, very powerful. And the stillness. We all have that seed of stillness in us. And how can we help it to be more present? Being outside of the monastery, I am quite aware how agitated the world has become with the pandemic. There's, many of us have been living through it, and we may have felt it, or it may have even been an imperceptible increase. But when I stepped out of the monastery in December and first of all got to the plane and then to the UK, I realized that the level of agitation was much higher than normal. So it's important to be aware that there may be difficulties in the situation around us. And with our mindfulness practice, how are we going to offer some kind of balance for our own experience? And how can we be a source of stillness? And finally, space. I think a lot of us, we feel very full of the challenges that the world is facing right now, and the effect of the pandemic on our work, on our relationships, and on our normal way of operating. And now more than ever, we need to be able to create space, and that is space for ourselves, to be with ourselves and to take care of what is happening inside, so that we can offer space to others. And as many of us know, there are some things that the consumption has radically increased in the last year and a half. The consumption of some things. I'm just going to name them so we just know what it is. We know that alcohol has gone up a lot. The amount of hours watched on streaming in some countries have perhaps doubled. And we know that prescription medication has also increased. So I'm just putting it out there to say that we know there are many ways in which, as a society, we've responded to this challenging time by filling ourselves up. And we have compassion for that too. We know that many of us just can't situation. And with the energy of mindfulness, with some freshness and some stepping back, what we would like to consume and what we would like to not consume or to avoid, or even just to create some moments where we say, we will have this evening without those things. We will have one day without these things, and creating space. And I think we can't expect miracles to happen in our relationships if we don't have enough space in our lives to take care of what is going on, to be able to listen to ourselves and really step back and have time to look at those personal dynamics. If there's just too much background noise, too much stuff coming in, we won't be able to have the perspective that we need. And that is why meditation and mindfulness is so powerful, because we choose what to consume and we choose where to put our attention. So we can choose not to watch something with someone, for example, but to actually bring our attention to that person who is beside us. Each other is to look in the same direction, which is a quote from Antoine Saint-Exupéry. So we want to look in the same direction. We want to have the same aspiration. And often, and I think perhaps more in the last year than ever, that direction has become the screen. So how can we be together and really be with one another? And how can we create space for that? So actually, a lot of this is to do with how we organize our time. And I think in the pandemic, because there's been so much disruption to our normal sources of nourishment, we have to be very creative. What can I do that will make me feel more fresh? How can I introduce the element of freshness to my day? Luckily, it's spring in the Northern Hemisphere, so that is a source of joy and happiness, and hopefully some fresh energy will come to many of us. So how can we make the most of the beautiful springtime? How can we do things that bring joy, really to body and mind, not just joy on a screen, but really would make us feel joyful in body and mind? What would make us feel more solid and stable? Perhaps a regular practice of deep relaxation. And that can become a regular practice. If we are in lockdown or if you're at home, there's always space to short relaxations in the daytime, but a short 15-minute relaxation, maybe in the afternoon every day, is very, very helpful to feel more solid. And space. How can we create space in our day? Is very, very important. So these are important questions to reflect for how we can live artfully, live with balance, and live well. And that belongs to the practice of mindfulness and insight and deep looking to see how to do that. I've also been asked today to share with you about 6 very powerful mantras that we practice in the Plum Village tradition. And Tai always used to joke that we don't need to say them in Sanskrit and we don't need to say them in a language we don't understand. That a very simple phrase, even in English, can have a very powerful effect to transform a situation. And we can place these mantras into our relationships, and they offer us a code, a challenge to see where we're at in those relationships. So there are 6 of these. They're very simple, 6 phrases, and they're not Buddhist. We call them mantras, but they're not really Buddhist. But they are born from Buddhist insight. The first mantra is, whether that is a loved one, a colleague, someone we live with, I am here for you. This is the first mantra. And I will see if I can show it to you on the screen. I do have it here. Let me see if I can do that. I am here for you. Very magic. Present. I am here. So what I've been sharing about fully present with our body through is a way to be present then for the into the room. Who we are there for ourselves, then we if we are lost and distracted and overwhelmed, we have no space inside. We have, and what is relationship if not being there for one another? And the practice we just did, flower, mountain, water, and space, that practice, if we are not very solid in us, if we have no space inside, we can ask to stop sharing for a moment. Okay, I'm back. So to offer these qualities, so we have to be present for ourselves, and then we want to say, I am here for you. So what does this actually mean? in practice. How might you use this? By someone in distress. We can say, I'm here for you. But also we can take this much more simply. Like, for example, very easy one. When we've made an appointment to meet with someone, or we're sharing a meal, or we're sharing a cup of tea, we can always ask ourselves, am I fully present for the people here? Am I fully present to myself, what's going on in me, and then fully present for this moment and these people? So it means to not be preoccupied by something distracting us. It means that the phone is not distracting you. And it means that we have some space to hear whatever the other person's saying, or whatever even they're happy about or positive about. We welcome them, and we want to be fully present for this interaction. And this is obviously very important also for young ones, children. Can we really be there for them? They need our presence more than ever. And what this also means is to reach out. And especially now, we cannot necessarily have all the in-person interactions we want. This mantra means we actively need to reach out to people by text, by email, by letter or card. That becomes even more sacred in our times, to take the time to write a handwritten card, just to let someone know that we're really there for them. And as you can see, I have a wonderful calligraphy by Thai. He visited my family in England a few years ago, and this was the calligraphy that he offered my parents. So I'm very happy to share it with you this morning, this first mantra in his calligraphy. We are there for ourselves, so we can be there for others. And one final point, especially at mealtimes, or when we're in the physical presence of someone, or even when we're listening on the phone, we know we are present if we're able to follow our breathing. And as we are following our breathing, we will see the change in our breathing as a result of this interaction. Our breathing may be excited and delighted. It may be a little bit agitated or irregular. Like, our breathing will exactly reflect the nature of the interaction. And by being with our breathing and soothing it, embracing it, stabilizing it, if you like, we can ground ourselves for whatever may happen, including unexpected things. And it's very easy. You have, sometimes we don't like to talk about percentage, but you have a certain percentage of your awareness is just with your body and breathing, and the rest is for the wider situation. So the next mantra is to be able to say to someone, I know you're there, and I'm happy. You are there. So these mantras, you do actually have to say them. You don't just feel them. We have to put them into words, and we deliver them to the other person. I know you are there, and I'm so happy. And this mantra is a magic dust for the affliction of taking one another for granted. In any kind of relationship, we kind of get used to the presence of the other person, and we may forget to realize how special they are, how the simple fact of their existence is a blessing. They are someone we cherish. And in our close relationships, especially those that are maybe a little bit worn down, especially if in the last year and a half we've had a lot of close contact with just a few people, there's a high chance that that relationship is a little bit worn down. We haven't had all those opportunities to have different kinds of input and different kinds of interactions. And we, not only do we maybe take the other person for granted a little bit, there may have been some creeping resentment or dissatisfaction that may have come into the relationship. And this mantra is a practice of appropriate attention to recognize, to name, to pronounce, to say, I know you are there. And that is a wonder, that is a miracle. I am so happy that you are still alive. It may yet also be the case that they have been irritating you, frustrating you, offending you. All of these things can be true. But we also know that their presence in our life is wonderful. And we have to say it. We have to let them know. And you find your words to say this. I'll show you the how Thai says it. This is the first one. And this is the second one. Oops, sorry. I know you are there, and this is mantra number 2. I'm so happy you are there for me. Thank you for sticking. Thank you for always being there. I am so happy that we have gone through everything we have gone through. You find your words, and this is what we have to pronounce and say to people in our lives, even when there are some difficulties. Because we are fully present for us because of our practice of mindfulness, presence. And what's quite funny is they don't need to be a practice. They don't need to appreciate their presence. We offer it. We say, isn't it wonderful that you are there, that I'm here together, that we've gone through so much together. This one a little bit more tricky, a little bit more difficult. I know you suffer, and that is why I'm here for you. It means I know you're having a hard time, and what I would like to offer you is my presence. We don't need to fix the situation. We don't need to talk about it a huge amount. We don't need to solve it at an intellectual level. We say, I will be here. I will keep you company with your pain. I will lend you my energy of mindfulness, my energy of listening. I am here with you while you are hurting. You could find other ways to say it. You could say, I'm here. How can I support you? What would be supportive for me to do right now? We can ask. We can say, simply, I'm here. You don't have to hold this alone. I think many people feel very alone in their suffering. And simply to not feel alone is already a relief. It's already a gift that we can offer. Or we could say, I know this is difficult. I know how difficult this must feel for you. And I'm here. I'm here for you. And in that moment, we breathe. We are a breathing presence through the phone or physically close to someone. We just breathe. We don't need to say much. We don't need to solve it. We are keeping them company. And what I have discovered is that our breathing and our stability in this moment, accessing that mountain inside, we can really lend that to someone else, even if they don't want to breathe. My mother had a very, very difficult moment yesterday, and I was with her in her kitchen, and I said, "Mom, let's sit down." And she didn't want to sit down, so I said, "Okay, I'll sit down." And I said, "Mom, why don't we just take a moment?" And she said, "I don't have a moment." So I said, "Okay, I'll take a moment for you." And then I said, well, I had to try and think of something new because I've had to try a few different tricks over the last few months. So I said, do you know about that 10 breath trick? Trying to distract her from what was the crisis that she had just encountered. And she's like, I know all about breathing. I said, okay. And so I listened to my mom as she shared what was difficult for her in that moment. And after about 5 minutes of listening, my mom took a seat and she did sit down. And I thought, okay, well, we're not going to be able to manage 10 breaths. So I just sat there looking at her and I said, well, you know, the out breath is really important. And Mom said, oh, I know that from yoga. I know the out breath is important. So I was like, okay, how long is your out breath right now? And sometimes in very acute moments, either for ourselves or for others, it is just very hard to pause. And for us as a practitioner, we can lend our presence to the person right in front of us. When emotions are high, it's not the time to talk about the problem. We take care of the problem in the body. So in our body, so now we're talking about interaction between two people. So as it's appearing in our body, so for me, the tension that comes up when I see my mom in distress, take care of that in my body, sit down, and I can take care of my breathing to really be there for her. And ideally, to help my mom slowly be able to dial down her attention so that she can get to a point where, well, the victory was her out breath, where she could have a slightly longer out breath. And ultimately, for her to be able to sit down in that moment, to be able to follow her out breath, that is taking care of the suffering in her body. So first of all, everything has its expression right in the present moment, right in our lived experience of it. And that is where mindfulness can have an immediate impact and benefit. We wake up to what's going on and we can take care of it right away, right away. So I'm just going to bring it up to the screen. I know you are suffering, and I am here for you. So we have to find a way to put this into words. For it to be a mantra, we have to be able to say it. It means to reach out to someone, perhaps even put our hand on their shoulder and say, you, and I am here. Or it means to actively reach email. You can send this as a text message as well. I difficult, and I'm here. And we can be very creative in the way for other people. I gave there of breathing with my mum. There can be other ways to be. Say, do you want a cup of tea? Shall we go for a walk? Shall we listen to some music together? Shall we do something fun? If we can find something fun to do loud, you know. So it's to be resourceful about how to create a moment that can be refreshing, also, well, for you, but also for the other person. And these are the elements we always are wanting to introduce to situations: freshness, solidity, stillness, and space. Also use this mantra if we have been the one you're suffering. I didn't mean to hurt you. I am sorry that what I said was painful. I'm sorry I didn't. I'm here for you now. Please share with me. I want to listen. I want to what I did. So we acknowledge their pain, and we, with our strength and our presence and our solidity and our openness, we're ready. Mantra number 4, perhaps the hardest one of all. I suffer. Please help. I'm suffering, and I need your help. I'm having a really hard time with this. Please, can you help me? And this is especially powerful in close relationships. When Tai always used to give the example of someone comes up to us and you know, they've done something or we've become upset, and they put their hand on our shoulder and we shrug it off. We say, don't touch me. Leave me alone. I'm fine. And we want to go to our room. We want to shut the door. We don't want to see them. We don't want to hear. And that's okay. We can take some time and some space to calm down if we need it. But as a practitioner, we want to develop that courage to say, yes, I am hurting, and only you can help. You, the person who hurt me, I need your help to understand why you said what you did, why you did what you did. Why did you say that? Why do you feel that? Why did you do that? It hurts so much. And they are the only person who can apologize for what they said. And that's why we need to ask for their help in such a way that they feel safe to share what is true for them. So I'm just going to bring up this one. I'm suffering. Please help. Please help me understand. And behind this mantra is the insight that whatever it takes, I want to be at peace with you again. I want to restore our communication. I want to keep talking. I want nothing more to do with you. And so in this, we really touch this deep intention. I just want peace in this relationship. I do not want to wish them ill. I want to understand. I want to restore sweetness, kindness, and peace. And as some of you may know, in Buddhism and Buddhist meditation practice, we say we cannot hope to have peace on the cushion unless we have peace in our relationships. And there may be quite an interaction between the difficulty we have with others and the difficulty we have with ourselves. So it goes together. We would like to have peace with ourselves, and we would like to have peace with others. Now, the final two mantras are quite interesting, and Thai added them a little later. The fifth one is very interesting. It is to be able to say to ourselves and others, you are partly right. You are partly right. And I don't know whether Thai invented this mantra also for those of us who live in community in Plum Village. And at that time, there was about 200 ideas and views and values. And he was saying when he first presented this mantra, he said, when someone praises you or says you've done well, you need to say to yourself, you are partly right. When someone criticizes you and says you've made a mistake, you also need to say, you are partly right. Whatever the situation, whether it's positive or negative, we have to have that distance and that perspective to say, yeah, it's partly right, partly true. We sometimes say that our perceptions are mostly wrong, and we always want to try and see things from different perspectives. And I'm sure over the next 2 days, the other Dharma teachers will share with us more deeply about this, how we can really reflect on our wrong perceptions and re-examine them. And with this, we are saying, we acknowledge all our perceptions are partial. And when we're listening to the other side, for example, of an argument or a difficulty, and someone has a position or a feeling or a perspective that we don't agree with, or we feel is incorrect or wrong, the challenge here is to pause and to reflect and to really ask ourselves, is there a grain of truth in what they're saying? Is there a grain of truth in this? It may not be fully right, but what can I take from this? I love this image. So there's always a grain of truth in something. And there's another one, which is we should take everything with a pinch of salt. These are two wonderful phrases that the ancestors have given us in the English language. And I'm sure in other languages, we have something similar. So to take everything with a pinch of salt means not to take everything too literally or too fully, or to see the grain in truth, a grain of truth in what people are sharing. So let's just have a look at this. You are partly right. I think we have to imagine Thai having a little smirk as he's saying this. We have to, it's a very important mantra. You are partly right. And the final is this moment. This is a happy moment. It's a declaration. It's a declaration. And this mantra, this final one, this is a happy moment, is it's like a magic spell. What it means is to acknowledge that any particular moment is precious and can really, Buddhism, we often use this moment only once. These people, this weather, this setting, this cake, this meal, this experience can only happen once, and we cherish it. And this is part of the practice of appropriate attention. We realize the preciousness of our interactions with others and moments that we share with others, even when there still may be some lingering disharmony in that relationship. We recognize that we can still share precious moments together. And in fact, maybe the path of healing for that relationship involves creating as many precious moments as we can to share together, to enjoy together. This mantra, to be able to say, this is a happy moment. So often we can say it, for example, before starting a meal together, or before cutting a cake together, or while enjoying a sunset together, or simply the first time you're able to hug someone after lockdown who you haven't been able to hug for a long time. We can say, this is a happy moment to be able to hug one another. So it's to really bless a moment with that declaration. It's to bring the insight of impermanence to the relationship and to the moment. We know we're on this planet, on this earth, in this body for a very short time. And life is too short to be angry. Life is too short to bear a grudge. We want to wish the other one well. We want to wish ourselves well, and to realize that this can still be a happy moment, to both be alive. In 200 years, we will all be gone. So let us enjoy this moment that we do have together, and let what needs to heal in its own time. These are some of the insights contained in this last mantra. I'm definitely coming to the end of my time with you this morning. I want to finish with a few words about the power of the practice of walking meditation. Tai has said that to be able to take steps of peace and gentleness on the earth is an act of reconciliation. To be able to do it, we generate a certain energy of peace in ourselves as we take this step, and we generate an energy of peace and reconciliation with the earth, with our beautiful planet. And in this way, walking meditation can be deeply nourishing and a great source of stability and healing. And I know that after this session, we will have a break before lunch and then the relaxation and Dharma sharing. And I really encourage you, if at all possible, please take 20 minutes to find somewhere, ideally outside, where you can practice walking meditation. And all of us have our own speeds or styles of walking. And I especially would like to encourage you to experiment with slow walking meditation. For me, I have found it a very powerful practice to really touch a deep stopping and a kind of reconciliation. Each step becomes an act of reconciliation. I embrace this moment. I embrace myself, my life, the state of my being in this moment. With this step, I move forward. So in slow walking, and you'll see also some videos on our retreat platform, so you can watch as you like. With slow walking, the idea is that it's one breath for one step. That is the principle. You may like to take a full in-breath and out-breath for each step. And Tai often challenged us to really meditation. And unless you've arrived, don't then take the next step. And it's a real training in the art of stopping, accepting, coming back. And you will know when you've arrived. So arriving in your whole body, really aware of the contact between your foot and the ground. If you have a chance to walk on soft grass, that is beautiful. If it's concrete or asphalt, that's also beautiful. Really arriving with every step, very, very slowly, and really asking myself, can I be at peace with this step? Can I be at peace in this moment? Can I make peace? So this is a wonderful challenge for us this morning. And with that, I would like to close my sharing. Thank you so much for listening, for being here. I've enjoyed being able to see a few of you on screen. Thank you for listening, and I wish you all the best with the practice of these mantras. And we will upload that little file, so it will be available for you right below this talk very shortly. And may you have good progress, especially today, in taking care of yourself, being with your breathing and with your body. And for those of you who are able to join the Dharma sharing, I hope you're able to share your experiences of either the practices so far today, and also if between now and the Dharma sharing, you can practice any one of these mantras with someone you live with or with someone by phone, that would be truly wonderful. And you can see if already you could start to bring some very gentle fruits to your practice. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Sister True Dedication, for offering us such a wonderful Dharma talk this morning, and for offering us so many different ways to reconcile our body and our mind, and also to reconcile with this present moment, and to nurture ourselves in the present moment. And also for your fresh take on the 6 mantras. I know it was very new, your approach to many of us, to practicing the 6 mantras for many of us this morning. And also please allow us to send our love to your parents as well. And we know that they're there, and we're also very, very happy. In fact, while you were giving your Dharma talk, we were in contact with your parents. So just to say that we know they're there, and we love them, and please send our love to them as well. And now, Sister, for those of you at home, our organizers, the retreat organizers, would like to say a few words about the upcoming activities for today.
So dear friends, before some short announcements, we will maybe say thank you to our Dharma teacher. In the hall here, there will be a sound of a small bell, and we will stand up. You can stand up at home too. Oh, we can end the Dharma talk with 3 sounds of the bell. Thank you. So dear friends, we would like to apologize for going over time some today, so thank you for your patience in staying online. A few short announcements. We will do a short walking meditation right after this talk, so if you want to walk at home or outside, you can know that the community is walking with you. We will also have lunch at 12:30, but you can have lunch offline. But if you want to eat with us in spirit, you can join us at 12:30 Paris time. At the next time we meet online is at 2:30 p.m. this afternoon for total relaxation. Those who registered for Dharma sharing will start at 3:30 p.m. Paris time. So there are different Dharma sharing groups. If you're in the